Hello there again, everybody. This is going to be Jund League number 51. Doing something a little different than what would be considered traditional, but still doing the traditional thing in the sense that we're just a straight mid-range deck, completely fair, no nonsense, trading one for ones and then pressing advantage with quick creatures. Um, so this version is going to be companioning Lurrus. And that's going to give us a few advantages, but also disallow a few other things. The advantage is that in the mid-range matchups and the aggro matchups where we need an extra threat, one that can gain life or one that can pad our resource advantage, Lurrus is going to do that pretty excellently. It's going to be like kind of like an 8th card in our starting hand. Obviously, we have to pay the commander tax to put it into our hand, but having access to an extra resource that can cascade into future resources is a good way to pull ahead. And speaking of Cascade, something we're not playing is Bloodbraid Elf, and again, that's because we're companioning Lurrus. I think Bloodbraid is one of the bigger things that we're missing out on because we're wanting to companion Lurrus. The other big thing being Liliana of the Veil. Again, those things obviously cost 3 or more and would violate the Lurrus companion condition. As far as the sideboarding plan is concerned, I'm also not able to play things like Ashiok and Plague Engineer. I'm not super high on Plague Engineer in general, but I really do love Ashiok. And I know I'm able to make the decision to not companion the Lurrus in sideboard games, but I'm making the goal of this league to companion Lurrus every game, and for that reason, I'm not playing things like Ashiok in the sideboard, because again, sideboarding that in would disallow me to use Lurrus. Not playing things like Bloodbraid Elf means that cards that you would usually not want to cascade into get better, so I'm playing things like Veil of Summer. I don't expect Veil of Summer to be particularly like fantastic in the sense that there's no combo we're trying to protect with it, and there's no like one piece we're really trying to sneak past the counterspell. But it is going to be just a fine 1 mana 2 for 1 in a lot of matchups, and that's kind of just what I'm looking for. My Grave Hate package today, my Land Hate package today involves my 2 Damping Spheres, 2 Alpine Moons, and 2 copies of Boil. My mid-range / creature matchup package involves the 2 copies of Anger of the Gods and more or less Collective Brutality. If I'm playing against Combo, Necromentia, the Brutalities. If I'm playing against something like Storm, where they're going to try to target me with the 4-mana instant that I always forget the name of, Veil of Summer will be good there. And the Alpine Moon is also just going to be good versus things like Field of the Dead versus Mirrange as well. As far as the main deck is concerned, we're playing a few cards extra that we usually don't. In order to combo with Lurrus specifically, I'm playing 3 copies of Mishra's Bauble and 2 copies of Nile's Spellbomb in the main. I was originally going to be playing a 3rd copy of Scavenging Ooze, but I really like the idea of being able to play extra Grave Hate in the main deck, especially when pairing it with Lurrus. So I feel like 4 pieces of Grave Hate, probably more than enough. I also considered playing Cling to Dust, but Cling to Dust is not a combo with Lurrus. That said, Cling to Dust is kind of a combo with itself, and that you can just escape it. But this is a Lurrus experiment, so I'm going to play the Spell Bombs. Also playing a single copy of Seal of Fire, essentially a 3rd copy of Lightning Bolt, but also just a cool combo with the Lurrus, of course. My creature package for Tarmogoyf, again, not super high on this card currently, but when everything has to cost 2 or less permanent-wise, I've got to make some concessions. And Tarmogoyf, I'm not super unhappy to play for. The card is obviously fantastic. It has been for more than a decade, I feel like. Again, the 2 Scavenging Ooze, playing 1 copy of Kroxa just because it's essentially a 4-drop that you can actually play because the front half is only 2 mana. And my interaction suite includes 3 Fatal Push, the 2 Bolts and Seal of Fire, so 6 1-mana destruction spells. And then I'm playing a pretty awkward but cool split of 1 Dreadbore, 1 Decay, 1 Trophy, and 1 Maelstrom Pulse, and then obviously double Kolaghan's Command. I don't really expect to be needing lots and lots of lands. That said, double spelling is still pretty nice, and double spelling is more easily afforded when we're drawing lots of cards. So to draw lots of cards, we've got 3 copies of Wrenn and 6, and count them, 4 copies of Dark Confidant. Especially in a Lurrus build where the average converted mana cost is so low, I really like playing Dark Confidant. Also, I think Dark Confidant is probably just one of the stronger cards that Jund can play to really leverage a card advantage. And I actually did the math on this. So the total number of mana costs in the entire deck, that's 14 ones, 17 twos, and 3 threes, added up to 57 pips, 60 cards in the deck. So the average converted mana cost in this deck is 0.95. So if we're looking at it from an expected value statistics problem, every single time Dark Confidant triggers, we should expect to lose about 0.95 points of life. So we're going to expect to lose 1 life point every single time Dark Confidant triggers. Obviously, more often than that, it'll be less because it's the one or fewer slot takes up more than half of the deck, and then we've got a good handful of twos and only 3 threes. But I think this is going to be a really good Dark Confidant deck, and I think it's going to be a really good way to leverage card advantage, especially in a version where we can't play Liliana of the Veil and we can't play Bloodbraid, which are two of our more card advantage-oriented pieces. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the current Modern metagame. We've still got Uro Omnath at first, followed by Heliod Company. Heliod Company followed by a similar counterpart, but a more mid-rangey version in Eldarmu's toolbox. Rakdos Shadow has been pretty solid in the top 5 as of late. Mono Red Aggro sneaking all the way up also to join these 4 in the top 5. Tron rising all the way to 6. That's one of the matchups we really don't want to see. The Colossus Hammer deck actually kind of surprisingly doing well. And we've got more Uro piles, more Titan piles, and then some combo and mid-range decks following. So with that said, let's jump into a league. Got the right deck selected. That's always good. Alright, acceptable hand. Turn 1 Thought Season to turn 2 Bob is quite a way to go. I guess another thing that I didn't mention in deck building, which I'm remembering now, is I'm actually only playing 3 basics, 1 of each. Not playing things like Liliana means that I don't necessarily need to emphasize having lots of black mana early. And I do want it to still play two utility lands in Nurturing Peatland. So that meant I was just going to cut a basic, which I think is probably fine. Interesting. So this looks like it could be a version of Shadow, although leading on Island is kind of strange. This looks like Grixis Shadow. Like, had this been any other, like any fetch land into a Shaka, I would snap say this is Shadow. And obviously, not Jund Shadow. So I'm going to guess Grixis just leading on Island, which is weird. Okay, not Shadow. Stone Coil. Alright, so maybe there is some kind of artifact theme going on here. Maybe the opponent is doing something with Emery. If they are, I'm happy I've got the Spell Bomb. But, I mean, a 2/2 isn't very significant pressure. I think I'm going to get my Dark Confidant going, especially because I would like to find some lands. Let me pop this out before I forget about them. Stirrings. Okay, so yeah, definitely some artifact theme going on here. And I'll definitely take the 2 damage, assuming there's an attack. Explosives. Okay. So this is strange, but I support it. And they are playing things like Stubborn Denial. So, this doesn't always turn it on. So I gotta imagine they're doing something else big. Or they have some other big creature in the deck. Want to give us a land, Bob? Thank you. Alright, so Tarmogoyf should be pretty large in general. They've already played their explosives. Maybe they've got another one. If I were them, I would be worried about this Bob if they don't have another way to get rid of it. So either they have another way to get rid of it, or they've got... Or they just really don't care about the Bob for whatever reason. So I don't actually have to Fatal Push this now, because the Tarmogoyf is going to do a pretty good job of just straight stonewalling it. So I think what I'm going to do here is just play the Bob and then hold up the Fatal Push. I don't know that the push is going to be killing much better than this Stone Coil, because again, I think they are probably playing something big given the presence of Stubborn Denial. So I could just deploy the Spell Bomb to guarantee using that mana now. If they can get my Tarmogoyf out of the way and hit me for 2, that's really not even that big of a deal. I like deploying the Spell Bomb and using my mana. If they do something ridiculous with their graveyard, I'll also have the Graveyard Hate in play, which is nice. Oop, that's not what I wanted. Alright, they're popping it for 1, right? So I'll just go ahead and use the Spell Bomb. Get the graveyard out of here. Trying to resize this so it looks like a card in my hand. There we go. That's okay. I guess I do want to see the phases of the turn. There we go. Solid. Alright, so I like how this is going. They popped Spell Bomb. They popped their thing and nothing else. Sure. I mean, Bob's going to continue going to work. Red and 6, pretty excellent. That's what we revealed. We don't have a lands to combo with it. I think I'm just going to keep up the pressure where I can. Fatal Pushing the Stonecollar Serpent now means that Tarmogoyf is hitting for 2 additional points. That's probably worth it. And then I guess I should also deploy another Tarmogoyf. It's a risk if the opponent has another copy of Engineered Explosives, but even then I'm hitting for 6, and then I'm gonna hit for another 12 before they can actually pop it, and that is just lethal. So I like not being afraid of an explosives here. Get you to 12. And then I did the math off, but we're at 10. But I mean, we should still be plenty fine. All right, cool. All right, so blue-green artifacts, which is interesting. I don't know that they're playing counter spells, so I'm not super certain about this Veil. Goblin Crater Maker should be pretty fun. Just destroying artifacts seems pretty good. I'm not certain that Anger is going to be good. They do seem to be some kind of creature deck, but even that's not a guarantee. And again, they're playing Stubborn Denial. So they've got some intention of making creatures that Anger probably can't kill. I don't think I'm bringing in Brutality blind. You know, I could bring in the Veil, but I really don't think they're guaranteed to be good. I mean, if they are going to be good, they're probably going to be great. So I guess what am I taking out for a single Crater Maker? I think I'm keeping the Spell Bombs and the Oozes. The Bobs look fantastic here. They're playing apparently a Simic deck that doesn't deal with it very easily. I mean, they are a mid-range kind of deck, so it's very likely that I just want to cut one of my hand disruption spells, because I tend to not like them versus the more aggro-oriented stuff. Like, they're great versus combo, but otherwise they can be pretty bad draws late game. And since, again, they're playing Stubborn Denial, I'll cut the Inquisition first, because I expect to be able to probably take something big. This is a few extra lands, but Kolaghan's Command seems very good versus the opponent, and we've got turn 1 discard, so I don't think I should ever ship this. They could Stubborn Denial me again, but unlikely. Serpent for 1, okay. Yeah, I would assume there's some kind of Emery pile. More lands, not great. We don't have to wonder for long. Inquisition target you. Vengevine, interesting. So they are an Emery pile. So that read was good. I think I'm going to take the Emery here. They can cast Emery on 2 and then probably get a card off of it. Also, I don't want them fueling Vengevine shenanigans, so Emery is probably just a solid take. Like, Aether Gust is going to be annoying versus these two things. Like, also, like, these two cards also don't answer the Stone Coil, because this protection from multicolored. So it's possible I should just be taking the Stone Coil here, because the two answers I have don't actually deal with this. But Emery might just be more worrisome. If they can brick on something important now, then it's probably fine. But the issue is that if I take Stone Coil and then they play the Emery, they can just replay the Stone Coil before I can deal with the Emery. So I kind of just like have to take the Emery and then look for other answers to these. So bolts, pushes, even creatures would be good here. More lands are obviously pretty bad. Alright, so they're just holding up a Gust. Wow, that's a lot of lands. So the options now are hold up Kolaghan's Command or put Lurrus into my hand. They've got Aether Gust, so if I try to Kolaghan's Command them, they could just Gust me. So maybe I should just put Lurrus into hand. Lurrus blocks actually neither of these, because this is also multicolored. So I guess I'll go with the Kolaghan's Command route and then hope I'm able to kill something. But this is not looking good off of keeping a 4-lander and then drawing 3 lands. Cast a Vengevine. Yep. Alright, so do I even use the Kolaghan's Command? Again, it doesn't kill these because this is protection from multicolored. So they can attack for 7 next turn, so I can fetch and not die, but if I want to cast Kolaghan's Command, I have to get basic here. I think I'm probably fine just getting a forest. I might want double red if I draw like a bolt or something. Yeah, let's get Forest. Forest is a Nombo with Kroxa, but I do want to cast Kolaghan's Command now to at least eat a card. And I can Maelstrom Pulse the Vengevine. Obviously not great, but it is a legal play. They discarded the Gust. Interesting. Alright, so ideally I draw like a large Tarmogoyf here. Okay. So Goyf is a 4/5. That's enough to block the Vengevine. Probably better than just pulsing. And then in terms of what land I'm playing, I should probably just get second black down. And then a lot of green is also useful for things like Scavenging Ooze, so I'll probably get an Overgrown Tomb now. A lot of things that could kill me here, probably. It's a good sign. Let me experiment with changing this size. How's that? Just to make the aspect ratio a little better. Alright, so if I block the 2/2, take 5, I go to 3. Alternatively, I could just block the Vengevine. There's a chance Vengevine comes back, though. I think I'm going to block the 2/2 because I can have the Pulse to deal with the Vengevine. Like, again, Pulse doesn't target these. Don't think I'm going to get bolted or anything like that. Goose. That's interesting. Alright, so yeah, this is a cool deck. I think I'm going to have to ignore the Goose for now. Bobble. Alright, well, yeah, I think I'm just pulsing this Vengevine. Because, like, otherwise... So I can pulse Vengevine, and then, I guess, be able to stay at 3. If I don't pulse Vengevine and I block that, I'm letting myself go down to 2. I do have a way to gain life in Lurrus, but I think I need to be killing something here. Alternatively, I could just put Lurrus in my hand. I think what I can do is I can cast this Bobble, and then I can target the opponent to get some info. Because, like, if I pulse this and they're just going to cast 2 creatures again, it makes me not want to pulse and put Lurrus into my hand. Bizarre Trade Mage. Well, that costs 3 mana. Maybe I do just want to put Lurrus in my hand. I mean, like, putting Lurrus in my hand means that next turn I could go Lurrus and Pulse and recast the Bobble. That's a lot of spells. Yeah, I'm gonna put Lurrus in my hand. I think seeing a creature on top has changed my mind. And then leaving up Blackleaf Cliffs in case I find a bolt or a push. Off of the Bobble trigger, that is. So assuming I'm making the play that I spoke of, I have to pay a life off of a Peatland, which puts me at a virtual 2. Yep, we knew about that. That was the draw step. So draw 2, discard 3, going to 1 card in hand. Riddlesmith. Alright, I wonder if there's a combo in here that I'm missing. Alright, well, unless they have a creature in hand and they draw a creature, this Vengevine isn't coming back. Discarding explosives has me worried, because that's a pretty easy answer that only kills Goyf. Oh, they have Hollow One. Okay. That's cool. Not playing that one, I don't think. Alright, so if I play the Lurrus, I can replay the Bobble and cast Pulse. I will have to Pulse the Bazaar. I can throw the Termwave in front of the Hollow One. Lurrus is going to have to chump block the Vengevine. That has me going up to 5, down to 4 because I paid a life and I take 1. That has me pretty decently alive. And then my leftovers are Croxa and a Bob, which I'm probably not playing. Alright, so this is happening. Cast this. Play that. If I go to 1 though, I don't just die, right? Because I had the Lurrus I was talking about. So assuming they don't draw something ridiculous, I block Vengevine, block Hollow One, I'm pulsing the Bazaar, Blocking the Vengevine means this is gaining 3. I'll be up to 4, and I'm taking 1 down to 3. Yeah, it's a plan. I guess I get to bobble the opponent, see what's happening. They've got a Ballista? Jeez. That's kind of the nuts, huh? Because like now if I pulse this, they just play a Ballista and kill me, which they get to do anyway. All right, well I'm not beating this Ballista off the top, unfortunately. I guess knowing that I can't beat the Ballista, maybe I should be like trying to top deck other Kolaghan's command off of the Bobble, but even then I'm done. If I don't make this play, I think I'm just dying to attacks anyway. Yeah, Ballista is like their only like burn spell, right? Ballista's very good here. Yeah, I think this matchup should be pretty good. I think we just had an early stumble off of the back of a flood. We just didn't have many things to do in the early turns. Like we drew spells later and we ended up being able to cast something every turn, but there was like a turn and a half window where I didn't have any way to pull ahead when the opponent was also not doing a whole lot. Alright, so turns out Veil isn't good, so that's awesome. They're playing Emery, they're playing Stone Coil, they're playing Vengevine, so I think Anger actually probably worth it. Knowing that there's some kind of creature combo, does that make me want the Inquisition more? Not sure, but I do think this Inquisition actually has become better than Thoughtseize, now that we know that they're not a combo in the traditional sense, and they are an attacking deck. Don't think we're boiling. Lots of things like Botanical Sanctum that this doesn't hit. This is probably fine. I need 2 more cuts. I think I'm going to cut the Trophy. I don't want to give the opponent a land. I like Decay better. Decay hits pretty much everything except Stone Coil. I guess Trophy hits things like Hollow One, whereas Decay does not. That could definitely be relevant. So maybe I should just be prioritizing my instant speed answers, whereas my sorcery speed ones are less valuable. And then I need 1 more cut. Seal kills Emery. It's probably enough. We are on the play, so I think I want all of the bobs. One more cut. Yeah, maybe it's just Thoughtseize. Like, you want the Hand Disruption spell in turn 1 or 2, but after that, they get pretty bad pretty quickly. Let's reveal Lurrus. And we've got a Keeper. Excellent. So, in the event that they've got a 1-mana creature, I'll probably want to have the ability to have the Lightning Bolt, so I should probably just lead on Blackleaf Cliffs. But if they don't play 1-mana creature, I'm going to wish that I'd been able to get a fetch out of the way. So I suppose I should just play Wooded Foothills, and then if they play 1-mana creature that I super care about, I can fetch Shock to Lightning Bolt. Goose. Alright, I'll bolt that. Then I'll untap and Glyph. So, Stomping Ground, I suppose. That casts Bolt, and we've got Blood. I don't want to get Blood Crypt when I've got a Blackleaf Cliff, so yeah, I'll Stomping Ground this. Push, another good one. Alright, cast a 3/4. Glyph is probably one of our better cards in this matchup. It can interact with the Stone Coil Serpent, and like also is pretty huge. I'll have to be concerned about the explosives that we know about in the opponent's deck. Is this that? It is. Alright, so probably not committing second Tarmogoyf. I could Maelstrom Pulse the explosives, but explosives is probably used... The pulse is probably used better for something else. Alright, a little awkward. Can't really play that. So I guess I'll just play a land, hold up push. I could force the issue and just cast the Pulse now. That adds sorcery and artifact, but just leaving it for 5, which is a significant chunk. Because, like, the issue is, like, if the opponent just plays, like, an Emery on their next turn and a land, and I haven't done anything to this explosives, like, I could be in the position to fall behind. I could also just hold up this Fatal Push off of the Revolt if I'm worried about specifically Emery. The other thing I could do is just put Lurrus in my hand. I have other answers to other permanents, so maybe it is just fine to get the explosives off the table now. Because, like, if they play Emery, I can run in 6, get back a land, and then use that to revolt a Fatal Push. And if they have, like, some weird Vengevine turn, I guess that would be the downside. If they have some weird, like, Hollow One turn, I won't necessarily have an answer to the Hollow Ones, because my Pulse will be gone. That said, the Glyphs will outsize them. So it's like, what am I worried more about? Am I worried about a broken Hollow One turn? Or am I worried about this explosives getting me behind in time? I mean, I think with a double Tarmogoyf draw, I really want to be the aggro deck and just, like, hope they don't have that nuts kind of draw with like a Bizarre Trade Mage. So I think I'm gonna go. I think I've convinced myself to use the Pulse line. Because if they don't have the broken line of their Hollow One draw, next turn I can play Ren and 6 and Tarmogoyf, and then I'm very ahead. So I think like the implied value of this play is good. And I'm not gonna not attack. The concern would be Vengevines. But when there's no guarantee they've got that hand, I'm going to hit for 5. Alright, so no Bizarre Trade Mage shenanigans, please. Or whatever shenanigans you could produce. Goose, that's fine. When calculating my combat math, I'm going to have to keep in mind the food that the opponent can sacrifice. Alright, Goose, and that's it. That makes me feel quite good. So I do think I want to Ren in 6 and cast another Tarmogoyf here. Just really apply the pressure. And I'll have Fatal Push as a leftover to potentially clear a blocker on the turn where I'm trying to kill, which is probably the turn following this one, given that I'll have 10 power in play. Have to be worried about another explosives to sweep all of my 2s. Petty Theft. Right, well, that makes me think they don't have more 2s. Alright, so I'll get probably just basic Swamp here, start conserving my life total. My mana is perfect right now, so I don't really see a reason to continue to detriment myself. And then I'll replay the Tarmogoyf. I could play the Bob to get the card advantage going. That's not insane. But the opponent is at 13, and Goyfs are really, really large. I'm going to play the Tarmogoyf. It's also the card they know about, but I don't think that necessarily is a super good reason. You going to cast a Vengevine? That's fine. What is this? Questing Beast. Interesting. Alright, so I guess I'm blocking that. If they hit me with it, they get to just destroy their N6, which takes off Revolt for the Fatal Pushes. And like if I attack it, they get to just block it anyway. So I guess this is a good block. Another good reason to have played the Tarmogoyf over the Bob, although pretty corner case one that I didn't think about. More Tarmogoyfs. Cool. Alright, so this turn should be pretty good. Something I hadn't thought about is that if I want to revolt this Fatal Push, I'm only playing one basic Swamp. So I might have to fetch Shock in order to play this Fatal Push if I'm also playing 2 Tarmogoyfs, which I'm pretty sure I should be. So maybe I should have gotten, I guess, the other color of basic, given that I'm not playing a basic swamp. And the opponent didn't play a land, so this Gilded Goose is good for mana. So maybe I should just be killing this Goose now, which isn't crazy. That also means that if they do have some kind of draw within explosives, which again I don't think they have, they can't draw both in explosives and a land coming up. So I think these 2 Tarmogoyfs should stick for at least a turn, which is going to be enough to pressure the opponent pretty significantly. So I like just pushing this Goose, I think. So what basic do I want? Do I want the mountain or the forest? I've got 2 red already. That's way more than enough. I have Ooze in the deck, so I guess I want the green. And again, if the explosives is the card that I'm worried about, but they can't draw it and the land this turn coming up, so this feels pretty safe. Borrower doesn't block flyers, which is nice. Excellent. Cool. So we've got a good number of things that we can do with our 1 mana. But 2 of our cards are pretty expensive, and even if we draw a land, our one piece of pressure isn't super significant, or a Dark Confidant. So I think this is a mulligan. This is better. And then in terms of what I'm bottoming, no guarantee that Kolaghan's Command is good. Same with Spellbomb, but Spellbomb is at least a card I know I can cast. I think I'll bottom the Kolaghan's Command here. It's pretty close though. Like there's an argument for almost anything here. I think the strongest argument would be between Spellbomb and Ooze because they perform a similar role. Blackleaf Cliff's Inquisition. Alright, so this could be a mirror. Haven't played against Jund in a long time. Despite it being pretty much in the top 20 or so popular decks for Magic Online. I don't know many other decks that do this other than like Rakdos or Mardu piles. A pretty cool thing, at least in terms of the first couple turns, about Inquisitions coming from Jund is that in situations where decks are very similar like this, that like what they take tells me a lot about what their hand is. It's something I kind of realized after a couple years of playing Jund is that when players play Jund against you, play Inquisitions against you, like you get information as well. Like don't let them just like cast it and say, okay, let me see what I draw and move from there. Like this is information. They took Bob. That probably means that they don't have a removal spell because the Bob is pretty easy to kill. They can even Ren and 6 it. But them taking it makes me think that they're pretty concerned about it running away with the game. Also, they're worried about the card advantage. They're not worried about the graveyard. So it does just look like Jund. I could Swamp into Spellbomb. It's probably worth saving the life to do it. It gives them perfect info. But I mean, 3 life is probably worth more than just 1 mystery card. So guess is Jund or Mardu pile, but more likely Jund just off of a metagame breakdown statistic. That doesn't tell me either way. Alright, and I did say I think they didn't have removal. Obviously they're going to have 2 draw steps to find more, assuming that's what they were missing. So I don't think there's a reason to not play this Scavenging Ooze, and I'll get Stomping Ground, so I have first red and first green. And then assuming this is a kind of mirror, Lurrus is going to be a pretty big edge. But they'll have Bloodbraid and Liliana's. Alright, so them bolting that means probably no Liliana of the Veil, but they do know about Seal, so not necessarily. Alright, it's Jund. Cool. Alright, this is going to be a grind fest. I'll try to play kind of quickly. Alright, they do have the Liliana. Okay. Liliana's going to be obviously pretty good. We don't have things like Bloodbraid to super pressure it. Or, hear me out, we could just draw really, really well. So my read was that they didn't have removal, and now they've played a Liliana, so my guess would be that they've drawn that relatively recently. And they've been discarding, they discarded a land and have hit a land every single turn. So as far as what that says about their hand, they haven't played creatures, they probably drew this recently. My guess would be their hand is just more removal and lands. No threats or lilies. Could be Bloodbraid as well. I guess no Bloodbraid. Alright, so yeah, my read is removal. Ravine, not bad. Alright, this looks like a fine turn to put Lurrus in the hand. And get a Ravine down. So, good sign. So, if I may end up sacrificing the Spell Bomb just naked, because it's the only thing I can guarantee recast off of this Lurrus if I don't hit a land, but I can make that decision next turn if after knowing that I do or don't draw the land. Thoughtseize. Alright, well, they get to take the Lurrus. Pretty annoying. Kroxa. Alright, well, we've got Spell Bomb. This is basically just trading for our seal, which isn't super impactful anyway. So best draw now, probably Kolagon's Command. Alright, so let's do this now. Maybe we find a creature that we want to play. So yes. Another land, not great. Clearly. Alright, we can do the scry trick, though. I'm going to play out all of our cards in case the opponent's got Liliana. That for the same reason, I'm going to do the trick on the opponent's turn. Also, this fades things like Inquisition and Thoughtseize that could possibly snipe whatever it is we draw. Alright, I mean, we're at kind of a stalemate now, but given the presence of Liliana and Bloodbraid in the opponent's deck, I think their average draw is probably a little better. Alright, so we get to do the scry trick. Thoughtseize on top. Don't want that. And again, my read that was that they had removal, so I don't think I'm going to commit an entire turn's worth of mana into a Ravine if I draw any other spell. I've got 3 green already, only 2 red. It's probably worth it just getting another Tomb. I don't think I'll ever need more than 2 red. Unless I'm like casting and escaping a Kroxa. Maybe that's reason enough to get Blood Crypt. I mean, that means I'll have to find another land before then anyway. Draw 2. Another Ravine. Bobble. Alright, well, given the presence of another Ravine, even though my read is removal, I think it's probably fine to get this going. If they somehow don't have removal and my read is wrong, I'll be happy. Alright, my read was right. Alright, for Kroxa reasons, I'll get not basic forest. I'm like wondering why I can't do anything since my ability is still resolving. Alright, I still think the opponent is better in the top deck war. We've got a Ravine. No guaranteed second removal spell. Alright, this is going well, though. I guess I do want to draw the card here. They're pretty likely to fetch, so this information might not actually be good. Ravine on top, that's fine. Thoughtseize. I mean, Thoughtseize is actually fine, because if they do have more removal spells, this will actually let a Ravine get in. Unless it's a trophy again. Alright, that wasn't going to do it anyway. Alright, and then we've got a Decay for their first permanent that worries us, unless it's a Liliana, in which case we're going to be discarding it. But if it's a Liliana, our Ravine can pressure it within a turn. So now I'm liking the spot. I think we were behind until recently. Worst case scenario now is the opponent finds something like Bloodbraid and they can use that to hit something also impactful. But, I mean, we've got the opponent on a 2-turn clock here. Alright, the opponent hitting another land is very fortunate. We've got an equal number of lands. They did trophy me once. But Lurrus was a pretty good impactful piece to this puzzle. Alright, so I get to run in 6 here. I can buy back a land. I guess I can only, as far as basics go, get Forest. I can activate Ravine off of all of it. So we'll plus, get back something that gets my basic Forest. This makes the opponent's trophies better, but we're on turn 8. Trophy is going to be... The land off of the trophy is going to be pretty inconsequential at all points anyway. Alright. If the opponent fetches, even a bolt kills them. Bloodbraid is worst case. Goyf. Alright, well, we get to decay that and attack for lethal. Ravine, get there. Alright, John the Mirror. Not every day you see that. From an Inquisition Thoughtseize standpoint, Veil of Summer is probably pretty good. That said, I am of the opinion that you want to be taking that kind of stuff out. There's a pretty good argument to, if you don't have enough cards to take out, leave in Thoughtseize over Inquisition, and I think I will. Reason being is that Bloodbraid's a really impactful card, and if you have the Thoughtseize early, you can take the Bloodbraid. Crater Maker is interesting. It's something you can get back with Lurrus, and it's honestly probably just better than another Hand Disruption spell. Hand Disruption, I think, is really, really bad. Along similar lines, maybe I want Brutality over, again, more Disruption spells. Like, the late game value of Inquisition and Thoughtseize is clearing a path for your creatures to not get hit by removal, so you'll often just, like, hold them to pair with removal, and, like, Brutality does do that job pretty well as well. So it's possible Brutality is just better than things like Inquisition. Yeah, main deck Nile Spellbomb did really well versus the opposing Croak, so I probably would have lost without that. Don't think I'm angering here. I think I'm good just keeping it like this. Just like leaving out the Inquisitions, keeping the Thoughtseizes. Yeah, I mean that one extra card, Lurrus, really did it for us. Yeah, this is fine. This is kind of what I was talking about. Like, if they've got the Bloodbraid, we get to snipe it. Alright, they're not Inquisition or Thoughtseizing now, so I don't think they're going to do it next turn either. I don't think I'm holding up Veil. I'll just cast my Thoughtseize. I could hold it for the pre-Bloodbraid turn, but if they got something like a Wrenn and 6, that's also probably something I'm interested in hitting here. I don't want to give the opponent a land early. There's the Wrenn and 6. They've got 2, though, and Bloodbraid and Liliana of the Veil. Their hand is quite strong, but their mana is awkward. Another reason I don't want to trophy them. So this Liliana, I think, is going to be the most problematic thing, especially because I'm going to want to be playing a Termaglyph on 2, and any land lets them play it. I could take the Ren and 6 and hope they don't hit a land for the second copy, and then by the time they do, I'll have the trophy for it. But this Liliana just seems like it's going to be the most annoying. I've got the Veil to potentially blank the Edict, but if that happens, I'm not going to be drawing the card off of the Veil, so the Veil is worse. I think I'll just take the Liliana of the Veil, and then be ready for the Bloodbraid when it eventually comes down the line. So I want my opponent to draw not a green source. Good. Not fantastic, but we get to play a Glyph here. I'll not play the fetch now because if I draw a push and want to revolt it next turn for whatever reason, I'll need the revolt access. And then given that I took the opposing Liliana, I feel safer in deploying a creature. Again, Bolt does not kill a 2/3 Glyph while there are no instants in the yard. And then, assuming we get to untap with the Glyph, I see no reason to ever put down this Veil of Summer. Like, we get to hold up Kolaghan's Command and Trophy in the process. And push. Alright, so this makes me happy for not playing the Verdant last turn. Sacrificing now does enable me to hit for an additional point of damage, but I think the actual aspect of Revolt may be a little bit more important long term. So I'll smack for 2 and say go. And the opponent drawing any land has made me happy that I took the Liliana, because if they just want Liliana minus me here, I do have a way to deal with it, but I'm down multiple cards if I let that go that way. The opponent is complaining about their mana issues. Just they think it's funny that they're short on colors. That happens to me too, don't worry. Happens to everyone. Unless you're playing a fair deck, because the Magic gods don't like people who play fair decks. Alright, so I will fetch here. Puts down Revolt, but I've got other good answers. I'll get Stomping Ground, complete the Tron. Alright, not a good one. So if I play the Mountain, I get to painlessly hold up Veil and Kolaghan's Command. Not sure that I'd even want to use Kolaghan's Command for any reason quite yet, other than it could get Inquisition or Thought Seized. Again, though, the third step in that line of thought is those cards might not even be in the opponent's deck. So if I play the Blood Crypt, I can hold up Trophy and Veil, or Trophy and Fatal Push. That's probably more than enough. Alternatively, I could play the Mountain, put Lurrus into my hands, then hold up the Overgrown Tomb for both Veil and Push. That seems good too. Yeah, I like that. I'll attack first. See if a potential Fatal Push or Terminate changes my mind. Alright, so Lurrus to hand, leaving up the Fatal Push or Veil of Summer. If I had another creature in hand, I probably would have just deployed it, but given no backup source of pressure, this is probably fine. Would love more creatures here. Excellent. Lead on attack. So the Scavenging Ooze will eat the Lightning Bolt. Am I okay with that, or should I hold it for future turns? So, given that we're sideboarded and I don't have a whole lot of Inquisitions, Thought Seizes, Collective Brutalities to pair it with, it's probably fine to just throw out the Ooze now. Especially because if they're bolting this, they're not double bolting Goyf, and in either case, I still have the Lurrus to buy it back. And I don't want the Lurrus getting bolted. And then this can come in tapped. See no reason to pay 2 life. I don't think I'll need to trophy and one of these two. I'll probably just push, and the other I probably can just hold up Veil and push and be more than fine here. I don't want to eat the Planeswalker. It's growing my Goyf. Alright, they're going to Edict me, and I'm going to Veil. Seal is a pretty easy way to deal with this Liliana. Goyf is a 5/6. We don't yet have enchantment in the art. If I enchantment hit the opponent to 10, I can attack for 6, put them to 4. No funny business. Let's just kill the Liliana. I'll hold up push and trophy. Smack for 6. Found the green. Ooh, Pyromancer. That's a good one. Probably their best case. Ditch these Renin 6s. Yeah, makes sense. Alright, so let's eat their yard. They've got lots of Planeswalkers. I'll eat one of them. In case they're playing Lurruses of their own in the main deck, I suppose I should eat the Renin 6s before the Lilianas. And I can Fatal Push something, but I don't have Revolt yet, so maybe I should just wait. If I Fatal Push this, I'll have access to 5 mana to cast both Kolaghan's Command and Trophy. Like, next turn, I can Lurrus and buy back a Seal, and then if I draw like a 1 mana thing, I can do that as well. Or I think I should just push now, because this means I get to Lurrus into Seal and hold up a news activation. So the alternate line is I just kill both of their creatures and attack. In theory, all of the cards in the opponent's hand are fresh. If they play a Liliana, they're never plussing it because I need to get rid of my stuff. So playing the cards from my hand is probably safe to advance my mana. So I think I'm going to Lurrus, just add a threat to the board, recast Seal of Fire, get the Bloodbraid out of the way. Leave up a news activation. If I had 1 more mana, I could just kill the opponent with burn. Can't quite do that. It's pretty close. Eat the Bloodbraid. I don't want them getting that back with the Kolaghan's Command and like playing a land and redoing the thing. Alright. I mean, I like the spot barring Damnation. Even if that's the case, I can Kolaghan's back a creature. This feels pretty good. We're 1 mana off and 1 damage off of killing the opponent a turn prior, which is obviously preferable, but this still feels pretty safe. Explosives on 2. Alright. We'll get to keep the Lurrus. Alright, I'm going to eat the Seasoned Pyromancer on the way out. Getting other Overgrown Tomb. I mean, if they've got a way to deal with this Lurrus, they've effectively reset the board, but I have good leftovers. Goif. Not gonna do it. Especially with that. Better than the trophy here, because like I could give them a basic to like cast a bolt or a push off of, but they've got in theory all of their all of the good basics, so not really a concern. Cool. All in all, this deck feels pretty smooth so far, but I mean, when the curve is so low, it's kind of hard to have clunkier hands, which is a nice little deck building side effect, I think. Lurrus Mirror. Well, I don't think I can keep a 5-lander. That seems like a bit much. Better. Keep. I think I'm going to bottom the Kolaghan's Command here. Given the presence of an opposing Lurrus as well, they're pretty likely to be something along the lines of Shadow. It could also be the Colossus Hammer deck, though, which means that Kolaghan's Command is going to be good, but so will all 3 other cards. I could also take the higher risk line of just bottom a land and plan on drawing another one, which isn't crazy. Like, all 4 of these cards are probably going to be pretty effective versus a Lurrus strategy. So I think I'll take the small risk and assume I'm going to draw another land. All right, and it is Heliod combo. So I think I'm pretty clearly taking Sigarda's Aid. Magnetic Theft lets them switch a thing anyway. I mean, if I have I guess like the Decay is probably going towards the Outfitter. I think Sigarda's Aid is probably the most dangerous, just because of the ability to give their stuff flash. That's going to make it hard to hold up things like Decay and Kolaghan's Command when I also want to be playing things like Bob. So I think Aid is probably the pick. True a bobble, yep. So this auto equips. This attaches an equipment. There's the hammer. They played Ink Moth. So I don't have to be concerned about activate Ink Moth and equip yet. But next turn that can be a very real concern. I've got the Decay to shoot the hammer. Swamp doesn't cast Ren in 6. Alright, I guess I'm going to cast the Dark Confidant here. Not quite afraid of dying just yet, so probably pretty advantageous to get the Bob down now. There's the Duelist. Attach a hammer. Oh, that's not the one that I was talking about. I just crossed it out. So they have an Outfitter. I just crossed it by accident. So I can run in 6, ping this, but then I could fall prey to the line of put hammer on a 10-10 Infector, or I guess 11-11. Cool, perfect. And the Thoughtseize. Wow. Thank you, Dark Confidant. Alright, so Thoughtseizes do get worse as the turn goes on. I could just hold up the Kolaghan's command. This duelist is not allowed to hit me. They've used a canyon. I mean, I guess I could thought seize. If the risk to thought seizing is if they draw another magnetic theft, I know they have the lands to kill me. The upside though is if I thought seize them and they don't have other magnetic theft effects that cost a single mana, I can run in 6 ping this off, and as long as I can fade 1 turn of the Hammer on the Inkmoth, I should be pretty good. And like if I thought seize and see something can go wrong, I could also just hold up the decay. So I think I like the thought seize line. Alright, so they have still the Outfitter and the Theft. I'm going to take the Theft to prevent combo shenanigans. And then now I can deploy the red and 6. Again, this is always going to risk the opponent just drawing another magnetic theft, but I think I'm very, very ahead if this line works. This doesn't have haste, right? Yeah, no. Alright, so assuming no magnetic theft off of the top, this should be a win. Or almost definitely a win. I give it a 60%, assuming no magnetic theft. Lurrus to hand, yep. Alright, I mean, we've got plenty of answers to all of that. And we've got a Dark Confidant going and a Run in 6 going. I'm feeling pretty good. Really, really nice. Alright, so now what I think is going to happen is I'm going to hold up Decay and play a Goyf. I do really want to start closing this game. Alright, I revealed Goyf, which means if I just buy back the Foothills, that's actual information that the opponent doesn't know about. I don't have to show that I have the Verdant. So let's get back Wooded. I guess I'll get a Forest. Use that to cast a Tarmogoyf. Attack for 2. And then have lots of pressure and lots of interaction. So now I'm liking the spot, unless something stupid that I haven't predicted is going to happen. That's a new one. They've got Lurrus. I'll decay at end of turn and then just hold up Kolaghan's command for the rest of the game. And I don't think I can really lose from there. Like this Lurrus is going to recast either a Duelist, an Aid, or a Bauble. I guess it has to be Bauble because this is a colorless mana. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with just Kolaghan's command as a leftover. If I find like a bolt or a push, I'll feel pretty confident in saying this game is over. Could just kill the hammer, but again, Kolaghan's command will do that real easily as well. I just want to avoid the opponent clawing back with cards. Because like I can deal with the 1-for-1s right now, but if the opponent starts deploying multiple things that I'm concerned about, that's when I could fall behind. As long as there's only 1 or 2 at a time, Kolaghan's command can deal with both of them. Alright, we revealed the Tarmogoyf. And Tarmogoyf is 6-7 right now, so we're hitting for 8. Kind of a lot. Is there a difference between minusing and plussing this Run in 6? If I'm hitting for 8, that puts the opponent to 5. So a minus between this turn and next turn means that a Lightning Bolt is also lethal. It also means the combination of Ren and 6 in hand and the Kolaghan's command is lethal. So for sheer reasons of reach, maybe it's worth it to Ren and 6 targeting the opponent. I've got the land in hand. I don't think they're going to be having me discard cards, so it's probably pretty free to afford myself the extra line to win. Get to attack first, just in case they've got like a Dismember or something wild. And then I could play just second Tarmogoyf. Probably is just pretty free to do so. I guess they could, in theory, have engineered explosives, which would be a way that I lose. I mean, another way that I lose, though, is they just like put up enough blockers. So yeah, I'll play this and then hope they don't have exactly explosives. I would put Lurrus in hand, but that puts down Kolaghan's command, and that's what I don't want to do. So they've got Outfitter, Canyon, and 3 unknowns. Outfitter and 3 unknowns. Aid, yep. That one is fine. Gift, fine. So if they're going for the effective combo kill, I'll just make sure to destroy the artifact that is the Ink Moth. If they've got second hammer, I could get blown out. So I'll want to destroy the Ink Moth, because again, that is also an artifact. I'll wait for them to make the move. I guess they can't really have second hammer, but there's no real point in risking it. I guess just do 2 to the opponent. Destroy an artifact, 2 to the opponent. Destroy an artifact, you. 2 to any target, you. Don't think they can both save themselves and their lethal attacking creature. I know their hand. Or I guess I don't. I only know half their hand. Cool. Yeah, this matchup should be pretty fine, probably. Necromentia is interesting. I could name Hammer if I'm super concerned, but they have so many ways to find Hammer early that I'm probably not going to be able to take it off the battlefield if they just play it. I mean, nothing else really looks great. I guess that's a lie. Anger could be good for sweeping up the smaller stuff. Crater Maker hits Hammer and also all of their creatures, so that could be good. Brutality takes like a few of the ways they have to tutor, as well as it is just another removal spell. Necromentia probably a little too cute. 3 mana is kind of a lot when a lot of their good combo pieces and the ways to find them cost 1 and 2 mana. Like Steel Shaper's Gift, Actual Hammer costs 1, Stoneforge Mystic costs 2. Yeah, I think it's probably worth bringing these in. I'll keep the Pulse despite bringing in more 3 mana stuff. Definitely keeping in Kolaghan's command. That's not really a question. Croaks are probably going to be a bit slow. I think I want to keep the instant speed stuff over the sorcery speed stuff. I mean, they're a combo deck firstly, so I think Inquisitions and Thought Seizes are going to be good to have. Spellbomb is weaker. The opponent's playing Lurrus, so it has some use, but if that's the concern, then we've also got Ooze, so we're not at 0 answers to it. Maybe it should just be another copy of Ren and 6. Ren and 6 doesn't kill a whole lot. It kills the core duelist, but if it's not equipped, which is pretty good. Maybe I should just take out Anger. Like, the odds it kills multiple things are low, but they're playing Lurrus. But, like, I mean, if I kill anything and Lurrus, that's good. Like, if they Lurrus, play a dude, and I Anger, it's a pretty clean 1-for-1. I'll just cut a Bauble. I feel like Bauble is usually kind of a free cut. Like, it's a non-bow. Like, you want the Baubles for your own Lurrus. Like, they grow the Goyf, but like outside of that, it's like kind of inconsequential. I still have 2. That sounds good. Keep. Giver, sure. We've got the push for that. I'll probably just Inquisition now. Targeted me. I mean, the opponent timing this as they did means I'm going to get to see the extra card, which is the reason to, if you want to target me, just do it on my own upkeep. If they've got like a Stoneforge here, pretty good chance I want to take it. Wow. Alright, well, that Inquisition was pretty good. Now I can push this thing and leave him with almost nothing. Played Inkmoth. Another Giver. Okay. Well, I definitely have to kill a Giver now before they start protecting each other. Bolt or push would be absurd here. Just really leave them on empty. Okay. So I guess I'll kill this one, and then when they respond to give this one protection, I can push that one. I could also just wait. The issue is, like, these aren't going to be super effective in killing the Inkmoth anyway, as long as the Givers are alive. So it's probably just good to make the play of kill the Givers. And then if they protect this one, I'll Overgrown Tomb, kill it now. I guess I could just wait. Like, killing it now doesn't mean a whole lot. In fact, it's almost better. The issue is, like, if they've got more protection spells, that would be the reason to do now. I think if these Givers live, it's kind of the only way that I could possibly lose this. So I like just doing this now. Like, the only way not doing this now bites me is a protection spell. But this, just emptying the board is really good with all these leftovers. And I'll probably save the trophy for the Lurrus, that I assume is entering the hand now. No? They drew a thing. Spellskite. Alright. Alright, well, that can become trophied. Renin 6, not great. I think I'm just going to go ahead and deploy this Ooze. The opponent does have access to Lurrus, and if I can start mitigating that, probably a good thing. Also, this thing is going to be able to attack past the Spellskite pretty quickly. Another Giver. Alright, well, they're full shields up. Lurrus to hand, yep. Stomping Ground. So they get to cast pretty much any of these after putting Lurrus into play. So I might just want to eat them all. All these protection creatures are pretty annoying, not gonna lie. I mean, Peelin's kind of an okay draw. I can trophy the Spellskite and then eat it. The issue is, like, if they play the Lurrus, I'm giving them the lands to be able to replay it. So they're going to get to replay something almost no matter what here. And I have to kill the Spellskite now before they can just always redirect to here and then protect it. It's like the Spellskite has to die now. That's not a question. So I'll attack first. I feel like that much is probably free. If they make a mistake and try to block my 3/3 with an 0/4, I can then eat something. Alright, well, this is definitely dying, so let's just go ahead and do that. Leave up max green. So as ahead as I felt, I don't feel super comfortable quite yet. Renin 6 is not a great leftover to have. I wish I had taken the one out now. No guarantee that would be the one that that would be the one that's missing, but still, you know. All right, and let's go ahead and do an extra damage here. Don't want them replaying Spellskite, so that's gonna leave. I guess I prefer they play the Bauble over other copy of Giver, because that makes it even harder because they start protecting each other. So if I'm going to get any extra point of damage, I might as well just munch it now. It's like Bauble's a random card, but Giver is definitely going to be good. Alright, I get to ping that. Bob is a good draw. So now I get to attack, but then they just block with something and give protection. Maybe they just don't give protection because that leaves them susceptible. The other thing I could do is Renin 6 minus on Giver, and then Renin 6 minus on Giver, but I have access to that play next turn as well. The issue is if I Renin 6 and minus on the Duelist, they just also protect it. So I think what's going to happen here is I can Dark Confidant and Renin 6 get back a land to hold up an Ooze activation. And the Ooze activation almost definitely going to eat this Bauble. And then on the following turn, I can use the Renin 6 and play to ping the Giver, and then play the other one to finish off the Giver. It's gonna involve the opponent not having anything insane off of their top 3 cards. They have Bauble, Canyon, and the draw step. Right, what am I guess I'm getting basic Mountain with my Wooded Foothills. Again, I don't have an attack because of the Giver. I mean, 4th protection creature is being pretty annoying, especially when originally I only had to plan to deal with 1. Alright, so no Lurrus food for now. You're gonna sacrifice your Canyon, would make sense. It's a hammer. Oh god, they drew it all. By all, I mean 2 of the pieces. So now they can kill me. They just put it on the Ink Moth, right? Alright, they drew into the combo. That'll do it. Did not think I was losing this game on turn 2, but here on 6, it's not even close. Wow, okay. We're on the play now. On the play, the hand disruption gets better, which is good. Given they have so many protection creatures, do I want to bring back this Dreadbore? It's not crazy. No, Nah, there's so much other removal. I don't think I want to make changes. I guess the one thing I could see is changing like a Ren and 6 for it. Let's do that. It did come up last game, and I'd even considered it going into the second game. Reveal the thing. Interesting. So, with any second land, this hand is actually just insane. I think I'm going to keep. Like, it honestly doesn't get much better than this. And then any second land, and we almost can't lose. Almost. Like, if we stumble, like, we have lots of stuff to do. This Dreadbore looking pretty smart for not having second Ren and 6. Alright, so I'm going to cast Inquisition off of, obviously, Blood Crypt or Overgrown Tomb. Doesn't matter which. Overgrown Tomb means that we get to cast Tarmogoyf more reliably, so let's do that. It also makes Blackleaf Cliffs a better draw. So they've got Stoneforge and Auriok Champion. Well, whatever we're not taking now, we're very likely taking next turn. So the question is, if they draw another copy of either of these, what am I more worried about? Auriok Champion is going to be really hard to deal with, so I think I'm more worried about them finding a second copy of that. And then if we can find a land off of the top, we're kind of golden, and if we can't, we're still fighting. I'll even take a Ravine. Awesome. Alright, so I guess I'm going to make the Inquisition play now. They'll get to Stoneforge if I don't. Like, I think slow and steady might be what wins the race here. Alternatively, I could really try to get the pressure going. I could cast Tarmogoyf, and then like next turn, even if I don't find the land, I can Ren and 6, buy it back, cast Inquisition, and like in the meantime attack for a lot. Given the amount of removal that I have in hand, I kind of like the Delver-esque strategy of get the thing down and then just keep them on the back foot. We don't really put the opponent on the back foot without getting some semblance of pressure down. So I'm gonna lean towards the plan of playing the Tarmogoyf. I think there are a few valid lines here. Like we could Inquisition, hold up, push. We could play Tarmogoyf as we have. We could Ren and 6, buy back a land. If I'm playing like a mid-range matchup, I think the best thing to do is probably cast the Ren and 6, get the resources rolling. But this matchup specifically, I think I like just putting the opponent, or at least trying to put the opponent on the back foot. Peatland. Alright, so I'm not super concerned about this Stoneforge as far as it being a 1/2 body is concerned. I do want to Inquisition to kill the Colossus Hammer, though. So I think what's happening then is I'm going to Ren and 6, buy back a Verdant, get a basic Swamp, and then use that to cast Inquisition. That seems a-okay. Alright, so double hammer. Not much of a decision here. The rest of the hand, though, really not a threat. Attack. They could draw Magnetic Theft, but it would be scary, but I think I can overcome it short to long term with just both of my removal spells. From this position, I'm comfy, but I won't be secure until another turn or two of this of a similar pattern unfolding. The opponent kept two pretty land-heavy hands. I mean, one of them worked out. We're still playing the second one, so maybe it's right. I know a good strategy And like control mirrors is hit your land drops. This isn't necessarily one of those control mirrors. Lurrus to hand. Yep. An attack. Rude, but acceptable. Alright, so we know most of the hand. A potential thing that could make me nervous is if they play Lurrus on their turn 5, they can immediately play Auriok Champion, and that could be worrisome. But Auriok is not super effective versus Tarmogoyf. I just don't want to see a land here. Just about anything else I think I'd be happy to see. Happy to see it. Alright, so I could play Peatland, sacrifice Peatland, buy it back, but that has me only having 2 mana available. I guess I am looking for more ways to interact. I think I want to continue developing my mana, but I think as early as next turn, I'll be happy sacrificing Peatland. So I guess I should just play the Peatland, and if I don't end up using it, I can then sacrifice it at the opponent's end step, and that's also a way to develop my mana while still like being able to draw the extra cards sooner rather than later. Alright, and I've got the swamp in play, which means the Wood of Foothills is the strictly better fetch land for me right now. Alright, and now I'll just let him untap. Liking the spot. Hammer. Yeah. They could have Lurrused and played other hammer. When it enters the battlefield, you may attach equipment you control to target creature you control. Alright, well, I'm going to let them use the ability. And then I can just kill the Stoneforge. So I know their hand now is 3 lands, Lurrus, something. And I think I'm going to be keeping the... I think I'm going to use the push here. I think I'm going to want the trophy for killing a Lurrus without needing Revolt. There's the Foundry. Alright, now I think I will sacrifice the Peatland. And then like I can Dreadbore the Outfitter so that way they can't like use the instant like auto equips. I think I'm pretty safe just like having all of my mana. Alright, that's good. That's not gonna deal with Auriok Champion, but if they go Lurrus into Stoneforge Mystic, that's a good way to deal with it. Not great. Alright, well, I think I'm smacking for 5. I could just Dreadbore it to ensure that the hit gets in, and I don't think that's crazy, because if I ping the opponent with Wrenn and 6 now and next turn, 2 attacks with the Tarmogoyf is lethal. So yeah, I think I'm good playing the Mountain, casting Dreadbore, pinging the opponent, and then really just applying the pressure. So like worst case scenario that could happen now is the opponent goes like Lurrus into Auriok Champion, but if they do that, I get to just cast my Anger, and then they're blocking with they're chumping with an Auriok Champion, which is also a fine spot. Again, Anger won't kill the Auriok Champion on account of protection from red. Outfitter. Yeah, that makes some sense too. But now I get to just win. I can trophy the hammer, and then Anger of the Gods can sweep the 2 smaller creatures. Alternatively, I could just trophy the Outfitter. But trophying the hammer means I also get to take care of the hammer, whereas Anger will just kill both of the creatures anyway. I mean, giving the opponent land leaves room for pause because then maybe they could Path to Exile, but I think if they had a Path to Exile, they probably would have played Lurrus and used the Path. Oh, that's not even for sure, because if they wanted to play something like the Core Outfitter, they would not have had enough mana. I think I'm going to still kill the Hammer, though, and then hope the Anger can sweep the other two. Again, another scenario where I wish this was a Decay. So yeah, I'm going to hope no Path to Exile now. Bolt makes things a tiny bit easier. I guess if I wanted to be super safe, I should play my land first. Bam. Bam. Cool. Yeah, that deck is surprisingly resilient given it's mostly an A plus B combo. And A plus B combos tend to be pretty easy to disrupt with stuff like Thoughtseize, but we were Inquisitioning, Thoughtseizing, killing protection creatures, and they still killed us a game. Reveal the thing. Oof. A lot of lands. Don't think I'm keeping it. I'd be more inclined if one of these was like a Dark Confound or something, but double removal that might not even be good in the matchup doesn't seem great. I have similar woes with this hand, but at least we've got Ren and 6. Uh-oh. Alright, well, probably not winning this one. We've got a good amount of Grave Hate in the sideboard. So, I think I like our odds more in following games, but this game doesn't look like we're going to be long for this world. There's like an argument to not giving the opponent the info that we're playing Jund. Like maybe they think we're playing Rakdos Shadow or something. Or like Jund Shadow. You know what? My life total is so inconsequential that I think I'm going to fetch shock, because I'm pretty likely to concede by next turn anyway. Like I'll play Blackleaf Cliffs as the third land. Blackleaf Cliffs is going to give away that we're not Shadow. But I'm going to put on a bit of a show with the intention of conceding next turn anyway. It's like Shadow can play Ren and 6. Or there's Goyf. That might actually be the better thing, because that's probably going to convince the opponent more consistently. And like Wood of Fiddles gets basic Mountain, whereas Verdant doesn't, so I think the tail is told a little bit stronger if I play the Verdant. And then I'll like Blood Crypt into a Tarmogoyf. The opponent kept a 7-card hand that didn't make Tron. I mean, I get to Kolagon's command that. If they somehow continue to not make Tron, like, we're not actually out of it. Alright, jig is up. Not playing Shadow. I guess they've got so many cards in hand that them discarding their worst one probably isn't good. If I'm hoping to win some kind of race, I think I should do 2 to the opponent. So I'll destroy an artifact, 2 to an opponent. And then at the upkeep, I'll sack Bobble. Oh, it skipped to main anyway. Alright, well, somehow we're not just dead. Power plant on top. Uh-oh. Alright, well, looks like they're completing it next turn. Thoughtseize isn't the worst. If they somehow have only 1 payoff in the 7-card non-Tron hand that they kept. Alright, well that's not going to be the case. Yeah, we can't really beat any one of these very easily. Next game. Let's see if they draw the card. Oh, yeah. They draw their next card. So they saw that we saw it. Alright, so we get to bring in Alpine Moon to name a Tron land. Same is true for Damping Sphere. Pretty good versus the Tron. Crater Maker can hit artifacts. Necromentia can actually name a Tron land. So that has 6 coming in. What's coming out? Removal. Fatal Pushes can leave. Abrupt Decay hits O-Stone, but that's it. Trophy can hit a Tron land. Dreadbore can hit a Planeswalker. I guess Spell Bombs aren't really doing a whole lot here. Like Bolt and Seal are pretty ineffective, but they're at least some burst damage that maybe we can use to reach and or buy back with the Lurrus in the case of Seal. Yeah, this seems fine. Yep, turn 1 Inquisition, turn 2 Tarmogoyf, turn 3 Sphere. I think on the play, I'm definitely going to want to get the Tarmogoyf down. On the draw, where the opponent has 3 lands in play before I have my 3rd land in play, I definitely want to get the Sphere down to defend against the completion of Tron. We want it down to 5 at least. Alright, well, hopefully the Inquisition even hits something. Like if their route to Tron is Map or Sylvan Scrying. They kept only a Power Plant, and they've got 2 Scryings. They've got no access to green if I take the Sphere. Also no turn 1 play, so Sphere seems like a good take. There's the Power Plant. Renin 6, not the greatest, but a welcome addition nonetheless. If I Overgrown Tomb here, it lets me cast Goyf, and it also completes the trifecta when you factor in a Ravine. So Tomb seems like a good selection. Tarmogoyf. And then next turn, I can deploy Renin 6 or the Sphere. Given they've drawn a Tron land, I'll more than likely just Sphere. The worst feeling was when they runner the Tron and then you just lose. I'll attack first. In case they have a dismember for whatever reason. Don't want to impact their decision making. they runnered the lands. And have map? Jeez. Drew the Crater Maker. So the concern now is that map can get Blast Zone. Blast Zone is going to be pretty effective nuking all of the 2s, especially if I run in 6 and play an ooze just as additional sources of pressure. I mean, with the opponents likely, they'll probably get basic forest here, and then they can Sylvan Scrying for it. But if they do that, as opposed to getting it with the map, it's going to be an additional turn before they can pop it. I think I'm just going to deploy my 2s. I mean, I don't have good pressure by any other means. And then if it's between Ooze and Crater Maker, I think I actually want to play the Crater Maker. I mean, maybe that's wrong because then that gives them the information that I can kill an artifact. So, like, for that reason, I would want to play my other Grizzly Bear. Oh, I can't do either of those things because I have Damping Sphere. So I'm glad I didn't shock just now. Glad I caught that. Jeez. Alright, well, I guess I'll get more green. I don't think I need 3rd red for anything. Yeah, Stomping Ground's probably fine. Alright, say go. Alright, they got the forest. I mean, if their plan is to get Blast Zone, I got to attack for 7 this turn and next turn if you factor in Raging Ravine. Like, maybe they get the thing that exiles graveyards. Oh, they just concede. I guess they don't have Blast Zone in the deck. Don't know. Also, I suppose a slight sideboarding mistake is on the play. Decay has an additional use in that if they've got exactly map on turn 1, Decay can destroy it. So maybe that would have been a reason to play it game 2, but we're in game 3 on the draw now, so that's not a factor. Pushes are still bad. Brutalities are still bad. I mean, like, Brutality can hit the Sylvan Scryings and, like, the Ancient Stirrings, but those are likely to get cast pretty soon after they hit the hand. So I don't think I'll be able to snipe it reliably enough. Yeah, I'm not convinced I should be changing anything. I mean, it just doesn't look like a very favorable matchup because it isn't. Funny, the opponent kept a hand game 1 with no Tron. And then they mulligan to 5 with a single Tron land, and they just hit it runner. The mark of a skilled Tron player is being able to draw the Tron land you need at the exact time you need it. Alright, the opponent has mulliganed. So, like, in a vacuum, this hand is excellent, but we don't have any way to hate out the Tron, and we don't have a way to disrupt it on turn 1 like an Inquisition or Thoughtseize. We've got pretty good clock, but I think this has got to be a ship. We've got 5 good cards that we really want to see. We've got not Spellbomb. The Alpine Moon, we've got Damping Sphere, and we've also got Necromentia. Alright, well, we've got the Damping Sphere. We've got Dark Confidant. The opponent has also mulliganed to 5. If we hit any land, does this hand become likely to win? Not even. Like, if one of these Bobs was a Goyf, I'd be way more inclined to keep, but I don't have a significant source of pressure. And I don't have a way to impact the Tron if I don't hit my second land. I think that's a little bit much. The issue is if I mulligan and hit an unplayable hand, I'm going to feel really sad. Like that. I guess I'm going to 4. I guess I'm going to 3. Yeah. I kind of have to keep the Bob and I guess some number of lands. So I'm on 3 cards now, so let's bottom that. I mean, do I just hope that turn 2 Bob is fast enough? Like, the Inquisition can help disrupt the Tron. Like, I think the way I win is, like, I have to go Inquisition, hit the land, and then play the Bob on 2. Obviously, really wishing I kept the 6 now, but, I mean, variance is variance, I suppose. Lands would be good. Alright, well, we hit kind of the best land. I mean, Blackleaf Cliffs obviously would have been better. Hopefully this even hits something. It does. Alright, they have the Tron, though. And the payoff. Mine Tower Power Plant. Yep. Gonna have to hit Damping Sphere or Alpine Moon right now. If I do, we've got a chance. We don't. So, given the presence of Mountain, I would get Overgrown Tomb, but I don't think I want 2 Overgrown Tombs. Let's do Blood Crypt. I mean, all of this just really doesn't matter. I mean, I think I can beat the opponent had I kept that 6, but there was just no guarantee. I think it was a really close mulligan decision, and obviously just not even close to come to working out. I mean, we're drawing live to like Dreadbore. Like even a Bolt to finish the card means that if they don't have additional payoffs, we could get lucky. Renin 6, not quite. Well, if I minus, they can't minus immediately again. That's not likely to happen anyway. So yeah, I think I just took a risk and it didn't pan out. But I think you got to take risks in matchups that are as terrible as this. Any other payoff, I'll concede. Okay. Another card. Well, I guess that's the one payoff I don't have to just immediately concede to. I can still draw Dreadbore or Bolt. We know the hand is a land, which they didn't play. World Breaker. Ugin. Yeah, okay. No, I'll scoop. I mean, yeah. Their last card was land. Had we kept the 6-card hand and spiked the land, I think we're a favorite. I mean, obviously, like, hindsight is 20/20, and like knowing that I was gonna mulligan the 3 would have definitely made me want to keep the 6. But like, I think a very good. There's a very good chance that a 5-card hand is much better than that 6. Like I said, like I didn't have a meaningful source of pressure. So like even if I hit the land, there was no guarantee that I would be able to pressure the opponent quickly enough to where they wouldn't just draw out of it. It's close. I mean, we've got Dark Confidants to like find pressure, and like they're kind of pressure in and of themselves. It's so close. Like, obviously, in hindsight, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I should have just kept the 6. But, like, back in the position without any more information that I have now, like, I still think it's close. I mean, if you have an argument for definitely keeping or definitely mulliganing, I'd love to hear it in the comments. We've got a good one. Okay. So, looking a lot like the Titan deck. So, if I draw Renin 6 on my following turn, I almost definitely want to be able to kill this Arbor Elf, which means that I can't play the Swamp coming up. So, I think what I'm going to do is get Blood Crypt and then use that to Inquisition. So that way next turn, if I do want to... if I do draw Renin 6, I can get like a forest and then kill the accelerant. Their hand's quite good. Well, I guess I'm taking the Sprawl because I really don't want to get turn 2 Collected Companied. What's up, Pants Man? Oof, not good. Alright, well, no matter what I do here, it's almost definitely getting skyclaved. So it's like, what am I most willing to let get skyclaved? It's not the Bob. I think I need the Bob. So between the Ooze and the Tarmogoyf, I guess what's going to be more important, closing power or the ability to interact with the yard? Given it's a green-white deck, I think I'm probably not going to be interacting with the yard a whole lot. So I think Ooze is probably the thing that I'm going to throw out into the skyclave. Yeah, I mean, I've been here for a while. Still doing the old favorite. I've got lots of recordings if you're interested. They're all on my YouTube. This is not my usual streaming time slot. Usually I have a crowd of like 5 to 10 people, but that's at 1 in the morning Eastern time. So this is a little outside of my comfort zone. You can see it in the bottom left of my screen. It's just my name, Marty Silverberg. Yeah, the bottom left of the bottom of the screen just has all of my like social media accounts. Yeah. But yeah, this is league number 51, so I've got literally 50 other leagues already posted. And that's just Juns. I've got like other extras as well. Like my most recent video was like a Grixis Shadow deck, for example. That was pretty fun. That was a 4-1. Spoiler, sorry. Alright, so I gotta beat a company now. Doesn't feel good. Not really concerned about the attackers right now. I'll just get down the Bob. Hopefully try to keep up with this company. But yeah, this is the first league that I've done companioning Lurrus. This is a bit of an experiment. And it's been going well. We were 3-0, and then last time we faced Tron, had an unfortunate mulligan to 3 off of a risky mulligan decision. But this game doesn't look much better. Coco. On a scale of 1 to combo. Combo. Alright, so green, white. Brutality is another kill spell. As is Crater Maker. Anger seems like it should be quite good here. I think I'm taking out the Sorcery Speed Answer. I mean, I'm bringing in 2 other Sorcery Speed Answers, but these can also hit Cocos and Paths, so they seem a little bit better. I don't think the opponent has a whole lot of graveyard shenanigans going on. I don't necessarily think I need Spell Bombs. And I guess one more cut. I would love to just say Mishra's Bauble because it's free, but like that kind of defeats the point, the thought experiment of the deck. So I guess I should, for science, keep the Bauble, but I kind of want to take it out. I guess I don't really need like either Kroxa or Ooze. Like they're both on the weak side in terms of my pressure. I mean, obviously Kroxa is huge if you can escape it. Ooze is kind of slow, and I've got lots of other good 2-mana things to play. Yeah, let's try taking out the Ooze. I think I want to keep the Kroxa. Yeah, Necromentia, I haven't actually gotten to cast it yet. I've only been playing it for a couple of leagues. I had it in last match versus Tron because you can name a Tron land, but we never saw it. Yikes. We've got a redraw. And if the opponent's obviously a very creature-heavy deck, so, like, if we don't hit the land, we still have stuff to do, but given the presence of 2 3-mana cards in our hand, like, this hand's gonna be clunky even if I do hit the lands. I think I'll ship. This is better. This is loads better. I think I'll just bottom a land here. Like, the Goyf might actually want the Bauble to grow it. So I think it's not entirely crazy to just bottom a land here. Like, the odds we draw another one are pretty high by the time we absolutely need it. And then I can use the bobble trick to see if I like my top card. I'm not really needing to play this seal right now. I definitely don't want to draw that. So I think I actually like just blood crypting and getting the seal down. Seal's a bit awkward because like it could influence the opponent's play patterns as well. Because like if they have the turn 1 elf progression, then like this discourages that. Because like if this were a bolt, I could like untap bolt their thing. Sorry, they play the thing, I go unstep bolt it, play Bob, and I'm ahead. But if they don't play it now, then it could put me on the back foot somehow. Thanks for the follow, Pants Man. Alright, well luckily we didn't discourage them enough. Alright, so it's gonna work out. So now the seal actually looks better because Glyph's gonna be quite large off of it. 4/6 already. 4/6 is large. Alright, so Overgrown Tomb or Stomping Ground. The odds I want more black are higher given this and Lurrus, so I'll get the Tomb. And then deploy the Bob. I mentioned playing Goyf, but I think getting the resources flowing is probably more important. I don't expect an individual Goyf to be enough to get there on its own, so let me get the multi for 1 rolling. Oh, did I say 4/6? 4/5. Oh god. All right. Well, this was obviously the drawback. All right. Do this first for whatever reason. I'll probably play the Goyf now. Oh god. Ranger Captain, Skyclave, and all right. So now I'm definitely not playing the Goyf. So I guess which of these two do I want to take? Skyclave is the answer to Goyf, and Ranger Captain is a 2 for 1. Heliod doesn't really do a whole lot on its own, but it is a combo piece, which could be a good 3/4 punch into a company. So maybe I should take like Skyclave, Heliod, and like just let the Ranger be good. Yeah, I agree. I think the Bob is still probably the higher ceiling play. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure which 2 I should be taking here. Like the Skyclave is probably the worst card in a vacuum. Like if I don't play the Goyf, Skyclave is worse. You take SA and Heliod. SA is Apparition. Yeah, so you like leaving the Ranger and just like biting the bullet on it. Like what do they get? They probably get like the protection creature. Like I definitely think I'm weak to combo, and the company has a high percentage of hitting the combo, especially after having Heliod already. So I do like taking the Heliod. It's just really a question of what's the second one. And I do think it has to be Skyclave too, because like at least Goyf is an attacker, but Skyclave ruins that. Ranger is so annoying though. Yeah, I'll take the Skyclave. Because like if I let them Skyclave my first thing, like the amount of time it's gonna take to find another viable threat, like not even thinking about them finding an answer for a backup threat, it's just gonna take so long that they're likely to rebuild anyway. But this also just feels really bad. No bueno. Okay, they got Ballista. Sure, I guess that makes some sense if they're setting up for combo. I need I don't even know what I need here. I don't want to look before I call it. I need like a bolt. That's fine. I mean, that lets me play 2 things. Bolt would have been nice because like I could Goyf on an empty board, but even then, like I'm still facing down a company, so that doesn't even seem to be super great. And I am playing Kroxa, which means getting basic forest isn't great, but I have the Ren and 6 anyway. The issue is if I want to like play Kroxa and escape it in the same turn, forest never lets me do that. The trade-off is taking 2 life here. I think the odds of the 2 life mattering are higher than the odds that I draw exactly my 1 Croxa, so I'll get the basic. Alright, that's what I got. Oh, they played the canopy, right? Yep. Bob's a good one. We get a 1-turn reprieve from this company. The Dreadboard's been okay. I mainly just really don't like playing Trophy because I think like playing it anything but before turn like 4 is so bad because like giving the opponent extra resources, especially early, is really bad. So I mean I've liked the Dreadboard. It's been fine. So I guess I'm attacking, right? Like, I'm not winning this game by sitting back and letting them company me. It's like this Bob is actually just really bad, right? Because they've got a Ballista. I mean, I guess I'm gonna play the Bob anyway, because like if they're playing the Ballista, they're not companying me. So, I mean, as much as I don't like it, I'm going to play the Bob. Yeah, I actually haven't played Abrupt Decay recently. I've been playing Terminate. I actually for a few leagues in a row I played 2 Terminate because it did pretty well. Hello. That's good. Where? Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. So when do you start? That's good. Alright, can you tell me more details later? Alright, cool. Love you. Alright, so they companied, which at least means that my my Bob isn't gonna die. Unless they go infinite, in which case... Oh well, right? Yeah, but I love Decay as a card. Ugh! That's bad. I mean, it's company. It's gonna be bad no matter what. Taking the Bob. Alright, well, I mean, the Ballista gets worse if it doesn't have a clean kill, so there's something. Alright, what do I need now? I guess Kolagon's command would be good. I don't have, like, Bloodbraid or Liliana to be able to draw into, although Liliana wouldn't be that good here. I guess best case now is Kolagon's command, but even then, like, getting back the Bob doesn't actually accomplish a whole lot given the Ballista that we know about. So I guess Croxa would be the live hit, which would be the reason why we didn't want the Forest. Well, I mean that could at worst take the Ballista. they have the combo, so we're dead. GG's. Yeah, they actually. Well, I guess if I take the Heliod, they don't actually have combo, but like I still feel dead with the leftovers. All right, and I've got the Forest, which means the Mire is a strictly better fetch. But yeah, this is not going super well. Can you infinite me? Yep. D-E-D. Dead. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick deck tech for purposes of wrapping up the recording. So all in all, I think this deck felt really, really smooth. But I mean, when your curve tops at literally 2, with like the exception of a couple of 3s that usually don't cast on turn 3 anyway, like it's really hard to have clunky hands because like you can cast basically everything off of 2 lands. That said, I still think being able to multi-spell in a single turn is pretty important. So I like not going any lower than 23 lands, even with playing 3 copies of Ren and 6 and the full set of Dark Confidant. And again, another reason to play all of these Dark Confidants is when your curve stops at pretty much 2, the expected value of life to lose with each trigger is really, really low. And I did do the math. The average converted mana cost of the main deck, including lands, is 0.95. So again, you expect to lose about 1 life per turn off of a Dark Confidant trigger. So I think this is an excellent Dark Confidant deck. And I think in two or three of our matches, we saw the Dark Confidant be very, very good. As far as how relevant the actual companion was, we saw in at least 2 matchups the fact that we were companioning did very, very well. It was relevant versus the mono white player playing the hammer combo, and it was actually game-winning, or consequentially game-winning against one of the opponents who was playing traditional Jund. So Lurrus, I think, is probably pretty worth it as a companion. Just having access to an 8th card for basically free, obviously like losing a sideboard slot and like having to pay an additional 3 mana is like almost not a real cost. I guess as far as the sideboard is concerned, we didn't get to board in the boil, so we just really don't have a meaningful way to evaluate that. We saw the Angers be very good versus the mono white player again. There was another matchup where it would have been good against the blue green Vengevine player. So the Anger of the Gods definitely had its spots, and it was good at least once the time that we had it. The spheres were good. It won us a game versus Tron, as it tends to do. I still like the Alpine Wounds as a sort of additional copies to Damping Sphere that also answers stupid things like Field of the Dead and Blast Zone. So I think 2 copies is still good there. Especially because like I'm not playing Pillage or anything like that, and I tend to like to have about 4 pieces of land hate, so between Damping Sphere and Alpine Moon, those kind of fill those roles. Boil also kind of land hate, but they don't come in similar matchups. Boil is more of the blowout pull ahead card versus the Uro piles, whereas Moon and Sphere come in versus the more actual big mana decks. I boarded in the Crater Maker a couple of times, and it actually would have been good a couple of times had I drawn it. I just didn't. The Veil we saw be very good versus the Jund opponent when they tried to Liliana and then Edict us. We were able to blow them out with the Veil. And Veil is a very powerful sideboard card. Again, we're not able to actually like protect a specific combo. So like Veil is very often just like a value 2 or 3 for 1. But I mean that's also probably just fine, and it's something we can actually afford to play now that we don't have to risk blood braiding into it and looks like just having it be a non-card. And the brutalities were also good. We didn't really have them be fantastic, but they were still pretty flexible, and I brought them in a few spots. And pretty much same with Necromentia. We brought it in a few spots, and I just didn't really find it. So I mean, I think the sideboard could use some tuning, but as far as a first draft goes, it felt pretty good. Like I really like this configuration. I think the 2 spells were really good. We were able to eat a Kroxa with it in game 1, which also pretty much made us result in not just immediately losing to that Kroxa. So I mean the deck felt really, really smooth, and I think if I do something similar to this in the near future, which I probably will, I'm not going to change much. At least as far as testing a deck is concerned, 5 matches really isn't a significant enough sample size. Neither is 25. But I mean, I think I'm going to do something pretty similar, if not identical, for the next league, which is going to be happening sometime in the next few days. So keep an eye out for that. So that's going to be it for the recording. If you're new here to the stream, definitely appreciate it if you drop a follow. Thanks to Pantsman for doing so. And if you're not already following on YouTube, you definitely should. Same with Twitch. All of my social media usernames you can find in the bottom left of your current screen. So with that said, I wish you all a good one, and see you later.